Nelson Mandela once said, sport has the power to change the world. And on so many occasions, disciplines like football have used their platforms to change the world through different activities. One of those activities is trying to make sure that they help those who are in need to change their lives, things like giving them an education and stuff like that. In Uganda, we have so many organizations that are taking that route, and they have made it deliberate to use sport or football in particular to change the lives of those who actually need help. One of those foundations is the Aliguma Foundation. And today on the show, we are privileged to be joined by the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer of the Aliguma Foundation. This is none other than Rita Aliguma. A lady who has so many titles, but I'll stick to journalist, sports journalist and that. She's also a former vice president of the Uganda Sports Press Association. Her and I come a very, very, very long way. But Rita, greetings and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for hosting me, Clive.
I want to tell a story, and I don't think you actually remember this moment.
Bring it on, tell me.
Unfortunately, I might be giving away our age, but
I don't have a problem with age.
For the time we've been around, should have been around 2010 or 2011. We were in Muyenga at the head offices of Sports Club Villa at the time. A press conference that they were going to unveil either Mike Mtebi or their Serbian coach at the time. And I think you had just returned from Europe. I don't remember which country in particular. And you had just gotten your first AIPS card.
Oh, yes.
And I remember you got the card out of your bag and showed it to me, and you told me, with this card, I can go into any stadium in the world, including the Emirates. I was like, Adak, in Uganda, we are still struggling to get into national stadium. Somebody has a card that can give access to the Emirates. I was like, wow.
Now,
I don't think you remember.
I actually remember. I think it was year 2011.
Yeah, should have been around that
I had just come
time.
back from the Shenzhen University, and that is the time I had just been nominated or appointed or voted as the best young journalist at the time.
Under the Young Reporters Program.
Under the Young Reporters Program. So, and I remember that time, I think they were taking journalists under 23 or 25, something like that. Yeah,
there was a time. I think
yes.
It's under 25.
So, I mean, as it was my first flight ever, we had just gone. It was not Europe; it was Shenzhen University in China, and it was such a good experience for me. But ever since I traveled to China for the Shenzhen University, I promised that my life would never be the same.
Yes, of course, we are talking about so many years ago. But what are some of the things or the trends of journalism you saw at the time as a young reporter that you felt were all to be doing back home then, and we weren't doing probably, and we are also yet to take that direction?
You know, around that time when we went under the International Sports Press Association Young Reporters Program, I was among I think we were about 60 something, but of course a bigger number of them, of the young reporters, were Chinese. So the rest of us were coming from Africa, Europe, and different continents. But I was so glad that I was among the first people, or among the young reporters who are also nominated to go and showcase on TV, international TV. I think it was, it's a Chinese, but big Chinese network. So I was really very excited. Going on TV, I think we were about 4 young reporters. I felt actually I would become a better journalist, or maybe I would become a better person in my field of sports journalism. I felt Ugandans were missing out on so much. I felt that Ugandans could actually do so much in journalism.
Exposed enough.
We were not exposed enough. Actually, I would look at, that time I was working with Channel 44 TV. But you know, you'd look at the kind of studio that we have, totally different from the kind of studio that we
compared to what you saw the other end.
Exactly. Like... But you know, every single moment I got such experiences, I would just get goosebumps, because these are things that I had never seen in Uganda. It was my first international travel. It was exciting. It was really exciting. And I would have loved all these things to be ferried into Ugandan media.
Unfortunately, we are moving at a snail pace.
Exactly.
But Rita, over time, of course, you've practiced journalism, but you also, a moment reached and you decide that you want to go into the direction of helping people, changing people's lives. And it's the reason why we are having this discussion today, the Aliguma Foundation. In your career as a sports journalist, but also as a human being, at what stage or what inspired you to say, I want to start a foundation that helps that all does change people's lives?
Clive, I must say, I think growing up, I'm the kind of person who always wanted to do philanthropy or charity work. But of course, as you're growing up, you speak out like a child. I remember growing up in our humble home in Masindi, Kijura. I'm one of those kids who always wanted to give out, because our dad, by the way, was in business and he used to deal in clothes, shoes, and all that. So we had a variety at our disposal. So in most cases, I mean, we were in a humble family, but of course, with the village level, they would say, you know, these are the rich people. By Namuko, these are the rich people. Exactly. So in most cases, every single moment our father would bring us, because our dad is the one who used to get us more of the clothes because he was in the same business. Every time I wanted to give out, I would tell mommy, at least there are kids around who don't even have clothes. They have torn clothes. We can give out clothes. So I think this is something that was within me. As well, growing up, I wanted to become a journalist. So I always imitated Ballet Francis. I know most people out there don't.
There were no ladies to imitate.
Yeah,
but
time. You know,
anyway, I was TV.
Yeah, I was very young. At that time, UBC was UTV. At the time, yeah. So immediately after the news, I would go back to imitate Ballet Francis. And I've realized, what you believe in is what you become. And these two things I have become. I become a journalist and I become a philanthropist or a charity partner. A social worker. Now, going to Shenzhen as well, like I said, when you're speaking as a child, you speak like a child. But when I went to Shenzhen, China, we had different facilitators who came to train the young reporters. We already had different sessions, the training programs and all that. But there is this particular, I'm forgetting his name, but I follow him on LinkedIn. He was coming from FIFA. He came and talked about public relations, social work, and all these other things that a journalist can do besides reporting. But the thing that I picked up, of course, he also talked about FIFA Foundation. He talked about, you know, as a journalist, reaching out to help other people and all that. So in my mind as well, with my background of helping, I started realizing, okay, I think I can actually do something out of this. But again, coming back to you, in Uganda as well, there was another friend who used to work with the sports outreach ministry. This person was born again and was working with the sports outreach ministry.
At Kanja Ministries?
No. In a different ministry, in a different organization. So I felt maybe at a certain point, I could do something using sport. But anyway, that was 2011 then. We continued with life. I joined, of course, I was part of WUSPA at 20. When did I become the WUSPA vice president? I think
under
it was
the regime
2015?
of
Sabiti, yes. But even after the Young Reporters program that I attended first, because I was the pioneer, it was the first of its kind, I was very enthusiastic. I kept on being invited by the International Sports Press Association. So I continued traveling to different countries, to different events that organized by the International Sports Press Association. And then later on, of course, 2015, I think 2015 or 2016, I became the vice president.
Around there, 16, 17. Should have been around that time.
And then around the same time, I was nominated as the International Sports Press Association executive member, Africa. And then later on, I think when I stood for the presidency, no, I think I had already become I had already started running my organization. In 2017.
It was around by then,
yeah,
I remember.
I think in 2017, around 2017, I had already left Channel 44 TV. At that time I was working with some PR company and
was it UBC?
And UBC, Uganda Broadcasting Corporation. But as well, I always remembered the lesson that I learned from China, you know, doing PR and social work and philanthropy. And these were things falling in my docket. But then around that time, I had also started my small organization, PR company, Rismal's Agency, which was doing public relations and decorations. And then later on, in 2017, this was a special day. It was around June. I went in the slums of Acholi Quarters, walking down. I found this young girl. She's called Janat.
Was it intentional or you are just going to see
No,
someone?
I was just moving around with a colleague. So this time around, I meet this young girl in a yellow dress. I went out to ask her. She was busy beating up the stones under scorching sunshine. I asked her name, of course, with the journalism within me. I asked what her name was. She told me. Then I asked her, "You're supposed to be in class at this time. Why are you here?" She told me she had been sent away as
Because
a
of
fees
tuition.
defaulters, because of tuition. So I told her, "Where's your mom?" She told me her mother has gone to look for money somewhere else, but she is a single mother. She stays with these other siblings and all that. I told her, "Okay, give me your mother's number." This girl is very bright. She gave me her mother's number.
She had the mother's number
Yes.
off her head.
Yes, she had the mother's number. I think that time might have been like 10 or 11. So I told her, "Janet, I'll come back and pay your school fees." Just like that. That time I was working with UBC. Clive, you know how much we earn as journalists. So the next day, I just went back and paid her school fees.
For the term?
For the term, yes. I told her, I'm going to pay for this. And I talked to the mother. So that is how it all started. So looking around, that time was around my birthday. 20th June was coming. So I'm like, no, this time around, I'm going to celebrate my birthday in a very special way. I'm going to celebrate my birthday with the people within this community, because I had already seen another
Because of your
group
connection with Janat.
Yes, I had already seen another group of people, women in scorching sunshine, just hitting stones in the stone quarry to fend for their children. I just went out on social media. I posted, I told people that please, this time around, I'm going to celebrate my birthday in a special way. If you have clothes, if you have sugar, if you have cash, please support my cause. Celebrate with me. Instead of buying me flowers or cakes, please celebrate with me. This time around, I went to the slums. I celebrated with these people. And at that time, Clive,
How many people turned up, if you're to estimate on that day?
I think there were over 100 people. There were over 100, because you could actually see, first of all, the little kids, the women, other men, people who just joined in, there were over 100 people. So, but the good thing, people had really donated. Amazingly, people had donated towards this cause. But sugar, soap, clothes, what we took to the place. And you could imagine, you could tell that you were like the savior of the day to these people. They would fight for sugar. They would really be excited for just a bar of soap.
Anything new, something they don't have.
They were really excited. And I came to think about it, and like, okay, now this is something that I've always been passionate about. Maybe I can actually try to continue talking to people on Facebook to maybe to support different kids. Yes. Exactly. That is when I kept on seeing different challenges within the community, and now I realized there were very many children. There was a very small pitch as well within the community, and I'm like, now why can't we just
It is actually a big pitch, but not in very good condition, and that makes it a small pitch. But when you look around, there's actually enough space.
Exactly. So I'm like, why don't I just go to FUFA and request for some balls to come and, start playing with these children. Maybe over the weekend, bring them together for them not to get involved in dubious activities within the community.
Have something that keeps them busy.
Exactly. And I was glad when I requested for some balls. They gave me some balls from the Federation. And that is how we started. We started, looking out for other kids who want to go to school. You would post on Facebook. Some good Samaritans start paying, school fees for some of these children. Because
most of them, the tuition they pay is really little money.
Exactly, it's little money. And the more we engaged, we continue looking for maybe other schools to partner with us. And then later on, the community leaders told me, what, you're dealing with people. I think it's high time you register the organization.
You didn't have that in mind?
It was never my intention to register. I was just there as someone to help, and that's it. And then in 2019, remember we started in 2017, and that is when we even started running the Slum Soccer Tournament. 2017, 2018,
the
2019.
Slum Soccer Tournament, whose initiative was it? Was it your idea, or as some members of your team?
As a sports person, I came out and I'm like, okay, now maybe we could, come up with different ideas. And I think we can have Slum Soccer Tournament. We can actually have it every year. But of course, in my head, I'm thinking, is it really going to be possible to run it every year? But anyway, let us just start and see what happens. So that is how it started.
And of course, probably before we go deep into the Slum tournament, you talk about the people who came on board initially to support you, well-wishers, Good Samaritans, FUFA with their donations initially. The UEFA Foundation, how does then eventually the UEFA Foundation come on board to support the cause of the Aliguma Foundation?
Now, when we continued with the sport and then the education project, and then here we are also having empowerment programs for women, because even the corporate league supported the women
stage,
at some stage. They supported to buy, equipment for women to also start doing something to get them off maybe stone quarry business, to do something, and also try to cater for their children. Around the same time, Mr. Gianni Mello, the AIPS president, has always followed the kind of work that I used to do.
And he had visited Uganda before, I remember, for a USPA annual gala.
Annual gala, yeah, he had. But as well, maybe to take you back, he is one kind of person who has been in my life since 2011. And in 2012, when I lost my mother, he came on board. He just came on and asked me, well, how can I help you? I told him, I have siblings. They have to continue going to school. Gianni is one person who fulfilled his promise among the many people who came saying, we are going to help you.
Exactly. You have so many people who was promising heaven on earth, and they just disappear.
Yeah, but he came in and said, I'm going to stand with you, I'll support you. He started at least contributing towards my brother's school fees, Ivan. And he was following the kind of work I'm doing. I remember in 2012, when I went for the London Olympics, I wanted to stay in London because I wanted to fend for my family, for my siblings, when I had lost my mama. Exactly. This guy told me, Rita, you have to go back to Uganda. I see a bright future. I don't know what this guy was seeing in me. I mean, Mr. Gianni, I just don't know. He told me, you need to go back. You need to go back to Uganda. I remember he called one of his friends, I'm forgetting his name, but he's also one of the mentors of the Young Reporters program. He told him, he was working with CNN. He told him, go buy a ticket for this young girl. Let her go back to Uganda. Oh my God. So I had to come back to Uganda. But coming back to UEFA, Gianni was following my work, and he used to publicize our work on the AIPS website. He told me, what you're doing is really very good. And this is what I love charity work, and please keep going. He used to encourage me. Sometimes, he would donate here and there. So at a certain point, I told him, I think there was, it should be in 2019 or 2019, under 17, the youth championship for UEFA.
The UEFA under 17.
I think, yeah, under 17, yes. So around that time, I requested him to have one of our kids to go and attend the Young Reporters program. And that was a Pio call. So he actually, we applied.
Now working with NBS Sport.
Yeah. So we applied. We had to write. She had to write a real story about herself and all that. And she went through. She went and did that course. But during that time, I told Gianni that I would like to meet the UEFA president.
You had also traveled for the championship?
Yes, I traveled. I had traveled. So he told me, that is okay. You're actually doing a good job. I think this is an opportunity for you to meet him. They also have UEFA Foundation for children. Maybe they can actually come on board and support you. I'm like, wow, okay. Through his PA, they contacted the foundation president, and they gave me an appointment. Boom. As we went for the finals, I think it was even in Udine, I met the UEFA president in VIP section. Oh my goodness.
You couldn't believe your luck.
Exactly. That was the most exciting moment in my life. And I think that was the turning point.
So when you requested to meet the UEFA president, was it like how you request to meet some important person in society around where, or the intention of trying to pitch for the Aliguma Foundation?
I am telling you, I think it would be the same thing as requesting to meet the president of Uganda. But one thing I've realized about these, how can I even call it, the Western world, I think these people respect more of the people who are coming to them, especially because in most cases, of course, they first do the background check. But if they realize, okay, what you're doing is
you're
really
authentic, yes.
Exactly. They will welcome you immediately. So that is what happened. So I went, I had a meeting with him before the game started. And I remember I was ushered in by Ivan, you know him, the one in charge of media for UEFA
But
itself.
before that,
UEFA,
okay, we are going to get back. Just try to paint a picture for us. You talk about the VIP lounge and all that, and this is a stadium we are talking about.
Yes.
And you're doing these pictures, you're comparing to our stadiums back home here. At the time, it is Nachivubo, Nambo, and like, what is running through your mind? Like, okay, you're going to meet this guy, but also where you are, you're like, is this a stadium? Is it a hotel? Is it what? Like,
oh my God! It is great. It is amazing. Of course, Western world, it is totally different than what we have here. I think
yet
here
we are playing
have
the same sport.
Exactly. I don't know. I think here we have. You're just going to find maybe VVIP, but
in words, but not. You can't equate it to what
you can't.
You experience out there.
You can't. You know. I don't know. I don't know how to explain
Back
it,
to
but
the
it
story. Because I've been in that situation, and mine was just the media tribune or the media section.
Yeah.
The UEFA Champions League final in Wembley last year, where you played a great deal for me to attend. I mean, it's just the media tribune, media center, and stuff like that. But you're looking at this place and you're like, why don't we have these things back home? And like, we have a long way to get to this level. But you get in there and you're like, now I know why these guys enjoy doing their job. And you realize that you always need to make an effort to cover such events because of the experience you're going to get, how you're going to be treated, and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, amazing.
But
Amazing
you meet Seferin.
Yes, and you know, everyone in there, everyone had a big title. But you know, as I was entering the VIP section, Ivan was telling people, this is a guest for our president. I'm
and
like,
the moment
wow.
you're a guest for the president.
Actually, I remember that time I sat with someone. I actually gave that person an opportunity. He was an MD of some big company in Italy. So he wanted to enter in the VIP section, but because in the VVIP, but he was in VIP and had no access. So when we just had the chat, and told me, "Are you going in there?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's okay. You can come with me." At that
so
point,
he became your guest.
I also became exactly. But the good thing from that, we actually managed to have a partnership with them. They used to shape us, you know, some candies for children. It was a sweet candy factory, big factory in Italy. So at least we worked with him for some time, you know, supporting us with that, you know, giving out, because those are freebies that you can give to children,
exactly,
you know, for good participation, good conduct in anything. So that was a very good experience for me, you know, getting into VIP and, you know, having that warm welcome. And in my spirit, I'm saying I wish Ugandan leaders could actually act more like this president.
With a lot of humility and all that.
Exactly. To get to understand what their people are doing, to get to understand how they can help the young people in the country, you know, to do great things for the good of the country.
So you used that opportunity to pitch, or that came at a later stage?
Yes, I already had my proposal.
Okay.
I mean, it's very important to always be ready all the time. You're going to meet that person. You never know you're meeting him for the first time, or maybe first and last time. Exactly, you just have to go prepared. It's the same thing. Getting an opportunity to meet the president of the country. You just have to go prepared, because you never know, there might never be any other time. You either pitch then and you get favored, you get heard, but instead of, you know, just waiting, just going to speak, I went very prepared. And I was also prepared by the AIPS president. He told me, you know, go ready, go prepared. So
you left that day, the final, when the partnership was sealed, or at least it was the starting step?
Yeah, it was a starting step. But he told me, I'm going to connect you with this person, this particular person, and, you know, he did. And he told me, they are going to work with you. Let's see how far we can go. And of course, the same period, that year, they sent me staff from UEFA Foundation for Children. And, you know, we launched them at the Acholi Quarters. I think it was even towards the Slum soccer tournament kickoff.
Yes, later on, of course, we'll need to know how the relationship with the UEFA has improved the foundation and the work you do. But sticking to the UEFA president, Alexander Seferin, you managed to host him in the country twice in a space of 1 year. I won't say in a space of 1 year much as it was,
Yeah.
but when you look at the months
Exactly,
in
yeah,
a
it's
space
1
of
year.
1 year. And of course, for me, the second visit is one that really caught my eye because he even managed to travel to Masindi to
Yeah.
look at the other work the foundation is doing with the different women and mothers. But I remember watching his interview with Andrew Kabura. They must have been at levels and stuff like that. The first time he visited,
Yeah.
and at the time I think we had the FIFA Congress in Kigali, Rwanda, and he said that. There's a statement he says something along the lines of, I don't love these occasions of the suits and all that. I love coming down here, meeting people, because this is where the real life is.
That is his heart.
And you could see that when he visited the Acholi Quarters, that day when there were activities, he was so at home and he enjoyed every bit of it. With the kids who were playing football, the girls were dancing and stuff like that. But the idea or the guts of writing that email to invite the UEFA president. Of course, we've all done some drastic things in life where you're like, let me just do it. Probably that was the easier part.
Yes.
But then the response of the email saying that, yes, I'll honor the invitation and I'll come to Uganda.
I
How
know.
was that?
And let me tell you, Clive, I think God has shown me mercy. I think it has just been by God's grace. The day I met him, we talked, and he gave me time. And I told him, have you ever been to Africa? Then he told me, I think he had been to, some African countries, but not many. Then I told him, you need to come and visit the Pearl of Africa. Please, you come and visit Uganda and visit the works that we are doing. I was very confident about that. And he picked it up. I mean, I didn't know that this would actually come to pass that quick. But deep inside, I always believe that God will make it happen. And just like that, because the conversation the day I met him is when I even requested that please, you need to also visit the Pearl of Africa. Uganda is amazing. We have good weather. We have this and that. You just need to come and visit Uganda, but also visit the works that we do in the communities. And he picked it up from there.
And I mean, his presence, the first and second occasion, first of all, how has it improved the works that you guys are doing at the foundation? Of course, having a person like that in the country, even these other people who are like, Rita, to look at stuff like that, they're like, Chintu Chadara.
Yeah, well, I thank God. At least at the beginning, we upgraded the pitch of Acholi Quarters. It had no stands. It was really in a terrible condition. But at least we managed to upgrade the pitch. People now have where to stand, to sit. The drainage system was really very, very bad. I know at the moment it is not as good as it should be, but because of the, of course, the community and how the place is.
You don't own the land.
Yes.
The people who own the land are not interested in improving it. And
exactly.
Stuff like that.
And actually at the beginning, people thought maybe we are taking over the land. We are doing what? We just had to go through different community leaders, all of them to get involved and understand that we are not taking the land, but we are developing it for the community. We have taken more children to school. We have we also acquired at least 15 acres in Masindi where we're developing the empowerment center, where we have our sports facility, and then where we are building a school, and all these things are benefiting the community people in our country. We have had at least income generating activities for women. At the moment, we have a group of women who are doing books. Nowadays, we no longer buy books from like Chikubo or whatever. We make sure we buy books from these women. And they are doing a great job.
From where? Where are they based?
They work from Acholi Quarters, but Katogo side. That is where they do their books from. We make orders, and we always encourage other people to buy from these women to support their families as well.
At the moment, how many kids are under the foundation that you look after, especially those that you take to school and stuff like that? Just kids alone, not probably the mothers.
Exactly. Those under the education program at the moment, they're about 332. But again, those we look out for indirectly, those are really many. Because first of all, we take different campaigns, especially in Dimwana, the Cry of a Girl Child, and then the sports programs in different schools, donating stuff. And those are schools that you cannot, those are kids that you cannot actually, exactly. There are very many kids. There are schools that you find with over 1,000 children. There are schools you find with over 500 children. And, we have managed to go to the most remote schools and or schools in the most slummy areas. Those are the schools that we have supported. We don't just go to the beautiful schools which can access some of these things. We go to schools that cannot access sanitary pads, that cannot access balls, that cannot access sports equipment and stuff like that.
The foundation directly takes care of about 300 kids. Of course, you've also the number is bigger indirectly. But I mean, at the moment, do you have some that have probably gotten into university yet or not yet? Some of them are still primary, secondary school level.
Most of them, I think, I could say, the pioneer is Janat.
Where is Janat by now?
Janat, we actually went with Janat to Greece.
Okay.
She's a very confident girl, very eloquent. She's good. She's an Acholi. She still stays in Acholi Quarters with her mother and the siblings, but now she's in senior 6.
Okay.
She's in senior 6.
She was the pioneer.
Yes, I met her when she was in primary 6. Yeah, but now she is in senior 6 and she's doing sciences.
Okay.
Very, very amazing. But as well, we can also say we have a Pio Nicole who is now working with NBS television.
I remember.
So well.
I don't know if you remember. I remember that time when you were telling me about Pio Nicole. At the time we were at Football 256. Yeah. Because I remember there's a statement. I don't think you remember. You told me, Clive, plant a seed. You're telling me. I think you are trying to find a place where you could place her.
Yes.
And at the time, I'm like, no. I'm looking at the things. Because you told me, even if you're just providing transport, then I'm like, but also transport.
I know.
Like, I'm looking at all perimeters. I'm like, well, nah. Much as you'd want to, because when we started Football 256, the idea was like, we are going to give people an opportunity, try to mentor them and support them and all that. But like, while you want to do that, but you're looking at your pockets or your income, you're like, I can't handle. Because I remember we chatted for some good time. Then when I let us find that NBS, and I remember I asked her, like, is this the girl you were telling me about and all that? But it's good that the foundation has actually started producing products like that. Because I remember joking with you that every time you have activities and NBS deploys somebody else that is not a Pio Nicole,
you would find her there.
You would find her there waiting report about the activity. And I remember her excitement when the UEFA president came here. You could see that because this is a project that has gotten now where she is, and she's very happy and proud. But outside... but
I also think, I want to think that you're also very proud of what Nikki has become today.
No, by the way, I look at Nicole and I'm like, okay.
Very passionate.
Very passionate about her job and dedicated, hardworking, wants to learn. I just hope she can stay away from the other bit of journalism, the entertaining bit, and stick to sports.
But me, I've always told her, if you're very passionate about it, you can try to balance and strike. You just need to strike a balance. Yeah.
We want her to be a sports journalist.
And
do away with the rest. But Rita, outside the children, of course, you talk about the women. There's that empowerment center in Masindi. What is some of the work that you are doing with these women through the UEFA Foundation and the other partners?
Well, first of all, there is that bookmaking project. And then we have other women that we are also mentoring in Masindi. We want them to get involved in the same project because it has worked and it is still working. And then the pads, since we have been also in the, we are in the Girl Child campaign. When I say girl child, that doesn't mean that we are ruling out the boy child. We make sure, actually, even going to schools, we make sure we teach even the boys how to use the sanitary pads, because these are kids who are going to maybe help their sisters, help their children, help their future wives.
You need to know.
You don't want to raise a good girl, and then you leave the boy behind. These are the same boys that are going to disturb the girls that we have raised properly. So we make sure that we get them involved both. So we are trying to teach also the women in Masindi, get them involved in bookmaking project and then the sanitary project.
Well, about the Slum Talker Tournament, of course, you do take kids to school and you pay their tuition and all that, but I also understand that there are schools that come for this tournament to pick out talented kids who they give scholarships. How many of are these? Of
course, there are quite a number of schools, but we have Shepherd House in Ipiji, we have Mount Zion, which has actually taken about 7 children from the just concluded Slum Soccer Tournament.
The one just concluded recently?
Yes, The one
On the
just ended.
31st of January.
Exactly. So the kids actually went was it yesterday?
That's a primary level.
Yes, primary level. This is primary school. But of course, there are other secondary school. There is another school for Pastor Kalanzi in Impiji, Abato Junior School, and they also have a second school, Pearl of Africa. We have kids there, and these are schools that pick the children for the Slum Soccer Tournament. Then we also have St. Andrews, which has just joined, and it is also taking more kids. They are
St.
also taking from
Andrews,
the
Gombe?
No. St. Andrews, is it Sunday? But it's in Entebbe side. Entebbe side. Yeah.
Along Entebbe Road.
Yeah, Kajansi Town Council.
And probably who outside Nicola Pio, who is the biggest star probably would say in football to come out of the Acholi Quarters?
By the way, Sadati Anako has been playing. I mean, before he went to KCCA,
he's a product of
before he started.
Anako,
before he started playing with KCCA, he was playing in the Slum Soccer Tournament. He was picked up, and then he's in Scotland. He has actually been around.
Because actually, he's a product of KCCFC all the way from the junior league that started, should have been around 2016. Then promoted to the senior team, goes to Scotland and comes back. So he's one of those
who has always played in the Slum Soccer Tournament.
Okay.
But he is now a big guy.
As I went out, recently you were telling me that you people, the foundation and of course your partners are in plans of establishing or setting up your own school. Where is this project happening?
This project is taking place in Masindi. And very soon we'll be inviting you to the launch of the school.
What kind of project is it going to be? Just an education or vocational institute, sports?
Of course, the future of the organization is still big, and but at the moment we've been moving out to different schools in Masindi, especially in this other area near the Empowerment Center. You hardly find good schools. Yeah. Apart from, at least the government schools, which are also few. But you find other schools and kids are studying under the trees.
Under trees, yeah.
Because first of all, if the government school is over here and maybe you have to move the whole village to come to school, it is very difficult for a parent. Exactly, long distances. So you find some other schools established within the community, but in a vulnerable condition. In vulnerable conditions. If I showed you pictures, you would actually wonder that whether we still have such kind of schools in Uganda. I mean, you can't believe you go to schools, I mean, whether what, any kind of education center, but you find 90% of children don't even have shoes. This is still happening in Uganda. Maybe 90%, I'm even going so high. No uniforms, I mean.
On empty stomachs.
Exactly.
Walks long distances.
Exactly. So we've been trying to engage these schools and, looking out and like, okay, now I think you need to set something, to do something new within this community. I am very sure that there are even parents who look out, for good schools, but they cannot find. So we have so many kids that we are educating in different schools, because some schools actually offer us maybe half bursary or you have to pay full bursary and something of sorts. But we are like, okay, now what if we come up with our own school? Instead of spending this money on other, we can actually pay for the same children in this school and then have other schools, I mean other students who can afford
to pay to be part of the school.
To be a part of the school, exactly. So that is what we are looking at.
And that is the future of the foundation in the next 10 years or something?
Yes, and then the education, like you've asked about the education program, we are not only looking at, theory, but we also want to start training these children from time go, even the young kids. If you look at Japan, these other countries, they start training the children while they are young. We want to involve these children into hands-on activities that they will grow up knowing. When I was in primary school,
and all these other things.
Exactly. When I was growing up, me in P3, we used to have. I studied from a private school then in Masindi, and at that time it was one of the most expensive schools. But let me tell you, it was about, I think we were paying about 60 or 70,000.
But it was a lot at the time.
Private school. So we learned. I learned baking from that school, but I was in P3 class. That is when I learned baking. So I strongly believe if we start training, even the piano, I learned my piano from there. But when I left, of course, primary school, I didn't continue with that career. But if you teach the children such skills
from a young age,
those are the things they will grow up knowing, and those are the things that they will benefit from in future.
Well, so it won't be only concentrating on a theory, the kind of education that we are all used to, but also the other skills that people need to survive in life, that can give them the mindset of an entrepreneur and stuff like that. Well, we are winding up, and usually we let people give us a katarekeka.
First of all, I want to thank you for hosting me.
If people know the trouble we had to go through to have you here, but it's okay. You're welcome.
Please don't go there. First of all, I want to thank you for inviting me here. Thank you very much. May God richly bless you. And I take this opportunity to thank all the partners who have stood with the Aliguma Foundation. Right from the beginning, right from 2017, I appreciate them a lot. But, okay, I'll not mention names. Otherwise, I would...
Anyway, sometimes we forget people, and
maybe I would
and they're wondering why you didn't mention us.
Maybe I would really much appreciate. I want to take this opportunity to thank the AIPS president, the International Sports Press Association president, Mr. Gianni Mello, for coming into my life and for supporting every initiative that I've done. Who led me to the UEFA president? I really want to thank the UEFA president, Mr. Shefarin Alexander, who has supported the organization, and the UEFA Foundation for Children that has supported the organization to take all the bold steps that we have taken. Without them, I don't know where we would be, but we want to thank them so very much. But I also want to thank God for my family members, my siblings, my entire family. One thing I can tell many people out there, that you can actually become what you deeply believe in. And where there is a will, there will always be a way. So whatever you're doing, just always keep focused and believe God that you can actually break through.
Well, you heard this from the Chief Executive Officer of the Aliguma Foundation. That's Rita Aliguma, from humble beginnings, and they continue to change people's lives. And they do have a dream that actually, yes, people's lives will change for the better. But of course, that has been our discussion with Rita Aliguma. Just to remind you to subscribe to our channel if you are yet to subscribe. We enjoy the comments. I won't stop saying that, and also the criticism, because it helps us get better. If you enjoy watching us, you can always leave the like. The like gives us that response that you actually like our content. But also feel free to share our content with the different people that you feel it would in a way inspire them or change their lives. Clive Chaze is my name, and yes, I'll catch you again in the next episode.